Hello, and welcome back to Technology Now, a weekly show from Hewlett Packard Enterprise where we take what's happening in the world and explore how it's changing the way organizations are using technology. We're your hosts, Aubrey Lovell
and Michael Bird. In this episode, we are trying something a little different. We'll be looking to the future of what we hope will become an episode format we revisit every few months.
And if we say it, then we know it'll happen.
Exactly. Right, so we'll be talking to HPE's CTO, Fidelma Russo, to get an overview of the enterprise tech landscape and to get her thoughts on what to watch in the next few months. Fidelma joined Hewlett Packard Enterprise in September 2021 as Chief Technology Officer. She leads the innovation agenda and technology roadmap for the company, managing the design and development of the organization's tech portfolio.
And that, as regular listeners to the podcast will know, is going to be a pretty busy job right now. So if you're the kind of person who needs to know why what's going on in the world matters to your organization, this podcast is for you. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to your podcast app of choice so you don't miss out. All right, Michael, let's take it away.
It's a busy time to be a CTO. Just a few of the headline areas of tech that are experiencing staggering growth and innovation right now are AI, which is something like a $200 billion industry on its own this year, according to the market research firm Statista. Though it's growing so fast, that number is probably already out of date. Connectivity and networking, around $120 billion for wireless networking, according to Markets and Markets, and closer to $1 trillion with wired networks and telecoms factored in. Security, that's $222 billion globally, according to Grand View Research. Storage, that's $218 billion, according to Fortune Business Insights. And finally, green tech and sustainability. That's a $16 billion industry on its own this year, and of course, growing fast. Again, according to Fortune Business Insights. And of course, we've linked to all those stats in the show notes. Fidelma Russo is across all these areas, and they are just the tip of the iceberg. So Fidelma, we are thrilled to welcome you to the podcast to talk more about what must be a pretty exciting job. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thanks, Michael. Good to be here with you.
So Fidelma, from the CTO's office, how is 2024 looking so far?
Well, it's hard to believe we're only 5 months, approaching the 6th month of 2024. It's been a whirlwind. 2024 has managed to pack in more innovation in its short time than I would say probably the decade before it, if not more.
And which innovations in particular do you think have been really prominent in 2024 so far?
This is the year, if not the months of AI. The acceleration that we've seen in the first 5 months have been nothing short of spectacular.
Yeah, it's been like, hold on for dear life, isn't it?
I know, we're all exhausted. I think it's more, when you start running a race and you start off slowly, or maybe you start training and then you realize you can run faster, and then you think you just can't run any faster. And then you think, oh, I really can. That's kind of what's going on. And if you see all of the announcements going on and you just see the innovations going on in the industry, and people are looking at and thinking about how far out in the future the processor and the GPU technologies are going and being announced. You just saw the latest announcements on the different GPU technologies coming out in 2026, 2027. They're really laying down the pathways for what we have to all think about in terms of the systems that we need to build in order to enable the progress that everybody wants to see around AI.
As a CTO, is there anything from an AI perspective that has taken you by surprise or that has progressed faster than you have expected?
It's the speed at which it's happening. Back in 2016, 2017, when the first Transformer paper came out, that was really the change that happened to allow LLMs to start to become mainstream and allow natural language processing to become the thing that really democratized AI. AI has been around for a long time, okay? I spent some time doing my master's in AI We've all spent time trying to do failed projects over the last number of decades in machine learning. Lots of our customers spend time implementing different machine learning projects with data science teams that didn't go anywhere. But the real change that's happened is this democratization of AI and AI everywhere. That plus the breakthroughs that have come to the market in the GPUs that are now available, and the processing power that's now available, and the systems that are being delivered to the market, along with the software technologies that are available, they're really beginning to bring AI into different use cases. And that's really what's changed. And the speed at which these innovations are coming to market is really, really changing the game. And it's up to all of us to make sure that we are working with customers to find the right use cases for those customers and to help them put them in places where we don't end up with a bunch of failed use cases again, and where they really do get the benefit of this great technology. And then the second piece of it is we want to make sure that the downside to AI, where you have ethical and safety concerns associated with it, that those concerns are taken seriously. And that as an industry, we put just as much innovation and thought processes and guardrails into ensuring that those are considered and that we are thinking about those and with just as much brain power and just as much technology. So making sure that this technology can be used for good and in making our lives easier instead of making our lives harder. So, it's a really exciting time to be in the industry and helping people, make their lives better.
Aside from AI, what are your top priorities?
Well, before you can actually get to AI, it's really about, first of all, thinking about how do we help our customers. The first thing they have to do is to think about what do they do with their data. Because before you can do anything with AI, it's all about how do I take my models and how do I feed my models with good data. And in order to feed my models with good data, I have to find my data. And so I have to collect my data. That's number one. Number two is how do I take all of that data, whether it's my unstructured data, which was very difficult to do anything with in years past. And that's when people talk about data, it's structured data is data that's in databases. We've been used to managing that for a long time. But unstructured data is the data that you and I deal with all day long. It's voice, it's text, it's forms, it's things that were in paper that we scribbled on, that people scanned. It's all those records. And we never really knew what to do with. We knew we couldn't delete them because it was all the important stuff to us, but we could never really manipulate it. And now that's really the important stuff. So for our customers, it's how do I get it into a place and into a format where I can actually feed these models. And then from our engineers internally at HPE, it's how do you develop the technologies that help our customers make their data useful before they even get to that next step of embracing their AI use cases. And then internally as well, it's, well, what are the AI use cases that are useful to us? And the CTO office kind of finding the places where it's important that we use AI for these use cases to help make ourselves more productive and to take those mundane tasks away from people so that they come to work and they have more enjoyment because they're spending more time doing things that are a little bit more creative. So that's kind of what's top of mind for us.
Thanks so much, Fidelma. That was great. And we'll be back with you in a moment.
All right. Well, now it is time for Today I Learned, the part of the show where we take a look at something happening in the world that we think you should know about. Aubrey, what do we have this week?
So, researchers from South Korea have spent 15 years designing an X-ray-like scanner, small and efficient enough to be installed in a phone.
Ooh.
Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds dangerous, but do not worry. It's not actually an X-ray device in your pocket, which would, you're right, be a terrible idea. Instead, the device, which was announced in the journal IEEE, Transactions on Terahertz Science and Technology, uses 3 electromagnetic emitters. These pulse out electromagnetic waves in the 300 gigahertz range, somewhere between microwaves and infrared, which are harmless to humans. The three emitters then receive and triangulate each other's signals when they bounce off objects, creating an image detailed enough to pick out a grain of sand from behind a solid 1 centimeter or 0.4 inches thick sheet of wood. The next version will triple that range. It's hoped that the device will usher in a new era of pocket medical scanners and ultra-portable bomb detectors. However, just to be sure that the tech doesn't fall into the hands of pickpockets or other nefarious actors, it's intended that the range will be deliberately limited in smartphone applications. That's pretty cool.
Pretty neat indeed. Thank you for that, Aubrey. Right, well, now it is time to return to our guest, Fidelma Russo, to talk about the unprecedented impact and growth of AI and what the future of enterprise tech is looking like. And what are you feeling hopeful about at the moment? Are there any sort of big announcements, either within HPE or outside of HPE, that has got you really excited about the future?
I've always loved the technology industry. I feel very fortunate that I'm in a business that is constantly changing. And, what I'm really hopeful about is the fact that AI has the potential to make this industry more inclusive. And that may sound like a strange thing for a CTO to say, but I think that AI will force all of us to look at problems from a multidimensional facet. Okay, it will force us to look at things not just in terms of here's the math of it, here's the science of it, because the AI will do some of that for us. Okay, so it will force us to look at something from a 360-degree problem space. And it will force us to make sure that we look at a problem cross-functionally and cross-dimensionally. And so to me, I think actually that's a tremendous opportunity. And so what you're going to get out of this is products that are, if we do it right, it's the plus and the minus. If we do it right, we will get products that are more tuned towards the bulk of the population versus just a sliver of the population. And so that to me is what's great about the promise of AI. And so that's what I'm excited about.
I mean, it'll be disruptive.
But this technology is tremendously disruptive. And that too is exciting. You can look at disruption as a plus and a minus. And so I've always looked at disruption as a positive. It's an opportunity. If you look at disruption as the potential to lose something, I think you are missing out on the much bigger opportunity. When something new comes along, there's always something that is going to be lost. But the potential for much bigger gains, if you can see your way through that kind of moment in time when things are a little bit unclear and you just kind of hold on for dear life for a few seconds, then out the other side, I think there's always tremendous gains. And this is quite clearly one of those times. The other piece is you don't necessarily always know the destination during moments like this. In moments of great innovation, which is one of these times, the journey from A to B is not a straight line. You will take a couple of steps forward and a few steps back, but the benefits go to the brave, okay? And so to me, you have to kind of lean in, lean forward, and be bold. And I think there are great benefits for everybody. And, you have to do it in an ethical and safe way. But only so many times in history in the technology industry have breakthroughs like this come through. This is good for the industry and it's good for our customers if we do it in the right way and not be protectionist.
What questions do you wish more people would ask you at the moment?
It would be, do I think there will be another disruption in the AI computing world?
Is the answer yes?
The answer is yes.
Good.
Yeah, I do.
I'd love to ask you more on that, but we are at time and I really want to respect your time. So maybe next time we speak, Fidelma, that can be question number one, because that is fascinating.
Thanks so much, Fidelma. It's been amazing to talk to you. And you can find more on the topics discussed in today's episode in the show notes. All right, well, we're getting towards the end of the show, which means it's time for This Week in History, a look at monumental events in the world of business and technology, which has changed our lives. Michael, what you got?
So the clue last week was it's 1974 and beep, beep, beep is coming to a store near you. Did you get it? Well, I thought it was a microwave. But it's happy birthday to the humble barcode, of course, or to be specific, UPC or Universal Product Code. And it was first used in a store in Troy, Ohio to buy a pack of gum this week, 50 years ago. Now, the barcode as an idea has been around since the 1930s using punch cards and had been experimented with by railroads in the 1960s. However, the UPC was a major refinement with numbers along the bottom as a backup in case the scanner failed. And, of course, it was a huge hit. These days, over 2 million organizations making countless products around the world use UPCs, all governed by a global not-for-profit who make sure they are all uniform, universal, and perhaps most importantly, unique, which is a pretty impressive feat.
Impressive feat indeed, and necessary. Next week, it's 1623, and this mathematician was certainly calculating under pressure. Should be straightforward, but who knows? Do you know what it is, Michael?
I don't know many mathematicians to my own personal failure, so no, I don't.
Okay, well, we will wait until next time.
Oh, good. Okay.
That brings us to the end of Technology Now for this week. Thank you so much to our guest, Fidelma Russo, Chief Technology Officer at Hewlett Packard Enterprise. And to you, our listeners, thank you all so much for joining us.
Technology Now is hosted by Aubrey Lovell and myself, Michael Bird. And this episode was produced by Sam Datapolan and Al Booth, with production support from Harry Morton, Sydney Michelle Perry, Alicia Kempson, Alison Paisley, Alyssa Mitri, Camilla Patel, and Chloe Sewell.
Our social editorial team is Rebecca Wissinger, Judy Ann Goldman, Katie Guarino, and our social media designers are Alejandra Garcia, Carlos Alberto Suarez, and Ambar Maldonado.
Technology Now is a Lower Street production for Hewlett Packard Enterprise. And we'll see you at the same time, the same place next week. Cheers.